3, 2, 1. And we are live. Alright guys, welcome back to the live stream. Welcome back Bobby, welcome back to live, alhamdulillah. This was rough, this was really rough guys. I was out for roughly 10 days now, I'm still on antibiotics. Where's that thing? Somewhere around here. Let me double check. Whatever, somewhere around here. Still 2 more days to go on antibiotics. And then we should be over the hill, inshallah. I'm not going to be speaking about health anymore. I noticed this. I don't want to be too superstitious or anything on those lines. But every time somebody asks me, hey, how are you doing? And I say, man, I'm doing great. It's absolutely fantastic. That's when I get sick again. So yeah, it has been very, very exhausting, absolutely excruciating. I didn't go into too much detail, and I don't want to go to too much detail. The gist of it is that I was battling 40 degrees fever for 4 days straight. I've been having autoimmune issues for the past 3 years, roughly. Ended up in the hospital yet again. Yeah. Anyways, it is what it is. Now I'm back again for the 1000th time. I'm celebrating roughly 20 comebacks per year on average. So, well. Anyways, from now on, I'm not going to speak about health anymore. If somebody asks me how I'm doing, I'm going to say absolutely terrible, in the hope that this will lead to some sort of success. Thank you, everybody, for your well wishes. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Thank you, everybody, for trying to help out. I'm in the talks with many doctors at the moment. The thing is this, you know, when you look at me, I seem pretty healthy. When you look at me, I seem pretty fit as well. The thing is, people have no idea. I'm living totally under my own potential. When I walk around the street here, when I get into conversation with people, people always ask me, what is your workout routine? What do you do? Not knowing that I haven't done any sport whatsoever in the past 4 months, basically. Yeah, because of my autoimmune issues. But alhamdulillah, my genetic just keeps me looking quite well. But that is a blessing and a curse, because every time I make it to the doctors, they look at me and they say, oh, you seem all right. You seem fine. And then we do all the blood testing and all of those things. And yeah, most of the time, actually not most of the time, pretty much always, it looks all good. So the blood tests themselves are not too revealing either. I'm looking fire. Yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue. I'm always looking pretty healthy, but internally something is seriously wrong and nobody knows what it is. Anyways, nobody likes a complainer. Today, we're going to keep the chat open, so we're going to chat a bit for sure. Ask me any type of question that you like. Send super chats in order to support the channel. W haircut, thank you very much. I just went to the barber shop just a few hours ago. Working on it. I heard in the comment section that I'm looking like Rollo from the Vikings. So, yeah. Working on the haircut. I have to let it grow out then to fully get the Rollo look. Anyways, that being said, yeah, we're gonna chat. As I said already, super chats preferred as always. And we're gonna do some watch YouTube, watch Instagram, watch Twitter, whatever together. So you can send me whatever you want to react to. And I have a few things as well listed here. Matter of fact, I saw that there was another video that just went online. Matter of fact, 25 minutes ago, 1 Christian versus 4 Muslims. We can check that out as well. We can start with that and then go from there. The guy, what was his name again? Wait a second, let me check. Oh yeah, Inspiring Philosophy. Very annoying to listen to be totally honest. It's another guy that has no logic whatsoever. I mean, you have to be brainwashed, autistic, and mentally ill. Yeah, to believe in Christianity. Let's be honest here. You really have to. I'm a person that is religious, but at the same time, I like to stay as objective, as unbiased as I potentially can. And therefore, I say that no matter what religion you belong to, there will always be some cognitive dissonance. That is just what it is. We're living in a very materialistic type of worldview at the moment, very liberal, very far removed from the supernatural. And hence, believing in any type of supernatural doctrine will lead to cognitive dissonance. That is just what it is. However, you will have the least amount of cognitive dissonance if you believe in Islam. That's just what it is. Because Islam is quite straightforward. It is monotheism. And to make the philosophical and the logical case for God is not so complicated whatsoever. We can build our argument on the contingency argument. We can build our argument on the so-called necessary being. That's a very good argument pioneered by Ibn Sina. And with that, we come to the conclusion then that there must be one God. And from there on, then it can logically follow that we subscribe to Islam. So that being said, it is much, much harder to make a case for polytheism. Pretty much impossible, to be totally honest. It is much harder to make a case for the Trinity. Impossible as well. So therefore, if we establish the existence of God, then to come to the conclusion that the religion of pure monotheism, the religion of Tawhid, is the truthful one, is a much easier jump and will lead hence to much less cognitive dissonance. But for you, in this day and age, in 2026, to believe that 2000 years ago a mythical man-god walked the earth who was Jewish and who allowed the Jewish religion to prosper, but then came to change religions ultimately into Christianity, is a much greater task, of course, to say the very least, right? I would say, for me personally, if I would have to make the choice between all the belief systems out there, it would boil down to Islam, surely. Potentially deism, but even deism has quite a bit of flaws. And the last position would be agnosticism, which is neither here nor there, but it's the least arrogant one. But to make an argument for atheism, for Christianity, for Hinduism is much, much harder. Yeah, anyways. Okay, let me put on the headphones so I can listen to the videos. Here we go. Ooh. Outlook unlocked. Wa alaikum assalam. Welcome everybody to the chat. Yeah, I've been getting those comments over and over again. Rollo the Viking. I really liked the character, to be totally honest, but Rollo was a traitor, ultimately. He was going only after his own interest in Vikings. And he made the same mistake like me. He married a French woman. Just joking, guys. But we have a lot in common, apparently. What do you think of Richard Dawkins? I think that Richard Dawkins is a bitter old man. And again, to stay as objective as possible, Richard Dawkins' main attack on religion is through the lens of Christianity. So he's been attacking Christianity predominantly. Not saying that he isn't attacking Islam as well, one way or another, but predominantly it was about Christianity. And to be totally honest, this new wave of atheists, I cannot really blame too much, because back then the debate between Christians and Muslims wasn't that strong, wasn't that big, and hence it was Christians versus atheists. And rightfully so, to be totally honest. Somebody had to dismantle Christianity, and the atheists did their damage. Now, I don't take the atheist position whatsoever, but it is a very, very easy to attack position. Because when atheists talk about God, what do they always say? Oh, I don't believe in a sky daddy. I don't believe in an old man in the sky. Neither do we as Muslims, right? Neither do the Buddhists, neither do the Hindus, really. But the Christians actually do. They do believe in a man in the sky. They're going to tell you, no, that's not really what it's about, but actually it is. If there is a sun, and the sun has a human nature, and the sun is walking on earth as a human, literally, then, well, who is the father then? Who is the daddy? It is the sky daddy, most certainly. So therefore, the atheist position, spearheaded by people such as Richard Dawkins, is understandable in that vacuum. It is understandable that they would attack this position because that position is laughable and it should be attacked. Most certainly. That's how I see it. But the points of Richard Dawkins, other than that, I obviously don't approve of. I find them laughable as well. Matter of fact, what I'm very, very interested in in my life was always about what works and what things lead to in the end. So for example, I was the original bro, yeah? When I was 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, I was heavily into bodybuilding. And I would do what works. Very, very simple. I wouldn't make it complicated whatsoever. Matter of fact, I really had no access to things that you have access to nowadays. The only thing that I had was one Jay Cutler DVD and one Ronnie Coleman DVD, and I would watch them over and over and over and over again. That was the only bodybuilding info that I got. And then I was in a bodybuilding forum in Germany, and I was an admin, not an admin, a mod rather, and we would talk there, exchange recipes and whatnot. But the point is that I simply looked at Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. Those were the best bodybuilders at the time. So I said, okay, if I want to be a bodybuilder, I have to look at the best around. And so the best bodybuilders around, they ate a certain way and they worked out in a certain way. So I simply looked at it and adopted it. That's it. I simply copy-pasted it because it works. Then during that time, you had scientists telling you that you need only 0.7 grams of protein per body weight kilogram, which was absolutely laughable. And we knew it. It was laughable because all my life I've been eating 0.7 grams of protein. And then once I increased the protein, this is when the gains started. It's very, very simple. So therefore, no matter what the scientific evidence at the time was, I simply ignored it. I was the bro scientist, but I knew that I was upon the truth, no matter what the scientist will say, because it simply doesn't work. And so the point is that now science points towards 2 grams per body weight kilogram as well, which is, I think, 1 gram per pound body weight for the Americans watching. So, yeah, anyways, that being said, then you had some vegans as well pop up. And back then they really looked terrible. They really, really looked terrible. They were skinny, scrawny, gray looking. It was absolutely horrendous. This was before you had all the chegans online, people that tell you they're vegan, but they're not really vegan, or they're using a bunch of steroids and whatnot. So it was crystal clear that meat works, and this is what I went by. It was not that deep after all. 1 second, guys. RDR is a bum too. I don't know who RDR is. Richard Dawkins, I guess, huh? Anyways, my point of the story is why I'm telling you this. I was always interested in what happens if you do a specific thing. What is the outcome of it? And later on, when I got into all kinds of diet niches, be it veganism, be it fruitarianism, I saw what the outcome was. You had people online and they would tell you that they found the holy grail. They would tell you the species-specific diet is fruit alone. You only eat fruits, and this will cleanse your body, and your body will detox, and then you will adapt, and then you will become stronger than ever, and this is the perfect diet for the human body, and blah, 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 blah. And I tried it all out, but I saw that I was losing a ton of muscle, of course, and I saw as well long-term fruitarians, what happened to them. Most of them would lose all their muscle, obviously, but more than that, they would get neurological disorders. They would go crazy. They would get B vitamin deficient and whatnot. And the same applied to vegans as well. Many vegans, after 10, 15 years, they would get horribly sick, really horribly sick, be it Crohn's disease, be it depression. They would have to be on antidepressants and whatnot. So you could see that there's something wrong with their approach. Their approach, no matter what the science said at the time, led to destruction. I'm telling you all of this because when you take people like Richard Dawkins or whatnot, they're telling you about atheism and they might make some strong points. That is great. However, what is the outcome? They have depressed lives. You see them, they're all so bitter, so angry, so aggressive. They're battling their own demons, you know? And once I saw that, it was crystal clear that people that truly are upon the truth, they resonate a peace, they resonate a certainty, they resonate a healthy life in all regards. Meaning, if you're truly a believer in God, then you eat well, then you have a family, then you have children, your finances are in check. You're not a bum. You're not some vegan in the jungle. Yeah? You're not some bitter atheist that hates himself, hates his daddy, hates his mommy. So that's what I saw with that. And therefore, be it Richard Dawkins, be it Sam Harris, those people are so depressed. Look at Sam Harris, for example. I personally don't like Trump, but not because I'm some sort of liberal. It's just because Trump is a big Zio puppet, that's all. So I have no interest in supporting Trump. I'm not even an American, but I'm not speaking pro-Trump either. That doesn't make me a libtard. But again, I see people such as Sam Harris who got a meltdown. When COVID hit, Sam Harris, this atheist, was all about everybody has to get the jab. Because he had no trust, no faith within himself. Everybody has to take the jab. Why? You're an atheist. It doesn't really matter. But who cares? Oh, and then Trump became the president. Oh, Trump is evil. Trump is evil. They're speaking in those religious terms. But meanwhile, allegedly, they're not religious whatsoever. So it's a joke, really. Okay, anyways. By the way, guys, I stopped smoking as well whilst being so sick. I haven't smoked now in 10 days. Alhamdulillah, I have no issues whatsoever with any type of addiction. Matter of fact, throughout my life, I tried so many different substances, and I have no issues to try something. If it benefits me, I keep it. If it doesn't, I just discard it. And so the nicotine experiment, due to my long COVID symptoms, helped tremendously. For 3 months, basically. 3 months, I didn't get sick at all. I had no autoimmune issues, nothing. Everything was perfect. But then, after 3 months, it just kept on coming back. And so now, I ditched them again. Hi Bobby, how do you deal with regret? I'm young, so mine are usually dunya related, but I know that regret will shift to deen and family when older. Regret should only serve for you to understand where you went wrong and then to not do it anymore. That's how far it has to go. Longer than that, dwelling on regret won't lead to any positive outcomes whatsoever. So now I'm not this guy, that will tell you, I don't regret anything. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. Yeah, okay, that is true. And therefore, again, alhamdulillah. But if I could go back in a time machine, or I could take my brain now and put it into 15-year-old Bobby, I would do things very, very differently. Surely, of course. Otherwise, I would be simply an idiot. You want to tell me when people say, I have no regrets at all. Okay, bro. You went through life and you did everything perfect right away. Everything was perfect all the time. It's kind of weird. But that being said, regrets shouldn't linger for too long. You should see what you are regretting and then never do it again. So if the regret is so big, then it should be there for you to realize that you should never repeat the same thing. That's it. That's how far it goes. You don't have to make it much more complex than this. No matter what you did, you're regretful about it. Ask yourself why, and then make sure that you never repeat it again. That's all. Hey Bobby, what is your take on those who follow a paleo diet? Is there some truth to discarding greens on a diet or removing carbs like bread? A paleo diet is not a paleo diet, first and foremost. They call it paleo diet, but that is absolute bunk because the plants that they're eating are not Paleolithic. So assuming that there was a Paleolithic time, where people ate certain things, they would be very regional as well. What did people eat? Not only in the Paleolithic time, but just in the wild, basically. People ate animals predominantly whenever they could get them, of course. They would hunt after animals, small ones, big ones, and whatnot. And other than that, they would eat fruits that were seasonal, but those fruits are nothing like the fruits we have nowadays. So if somebody tells you, for example, I'm eating a paleo diet and he's taking a sirloin steak in the pan and then he's eating it with banana and honey, it's nice. I eat that too sometimes, but it's not a Paleolithic diet. It's bunk because there are no bananas in the wild. If you ever noticed, there are no seeds in the banana, so those things are clones. They're man-made fruits. No such thing exist in nature, in the wild. That's just what it is, right? But a Paleolithic diet cuts out a lot of junk, a paleo diet, just for the sake of the name, but it's not what it is. Because now you're not eating any gluten anymore. That can be very inflammatory, not for everybody. And most of the time, it's not only the gluten, to be fair. Most of the time it is the glyphosate, because bread nowadays is not what it used to be 2,000, 3,000 years ago. And yes, 3,000 years ago we had bread as well. So therefore, yes, you're cutting out processed carbs. That is good, right? And you're eating predominantly whole foods. So the paleo diet is nothing but a gluten-free whole foods diet. That's what it is. And so by default, then you will be eating more protein. You will be cutting out the junk. You will be cutting out the gluten. And yeah, in general, you will have a more low-carb diet. The greens are something that you wouldn't find in that form in the wild either, but that doesn't mean that people didn't eat any type of greens at all. Matter of fact, even if you look at carnivorous animals, be it cats, tigers, for example, lions, they will graze a bit as well. So therefore, for us humans, did we consume some bitter greens too? Predominantly for detoxification? Yes, we did, surely. But yeah, a paleo diet, yet again, is not where you have some sort of, let's say, Japanese sweet potato, some chicken on the side, sauteed, right, and then some raw honey on top. It's simply not a paleo diet. They call it that, but it's a whole food diet. So what do I think about that diet? It's a pretty good diet. It's not bad. It's a pretty good diet. If you eat like this, you will eat better than 90% of people. Yeah, absolutely. I see here somebody cut out dairy and milk. That was my first step when I was 16 years old. I cut out bread. Nowadays, I do eat bread occasionally. I don't have it in my diet every day, but if I want to eat bread in a restaurant, for example, I have it. I don't really care at the moment. But yeah, cutting out bread was the biggest step back then, and I replaced it with rice and chicken predominantly. Will you die if you not drink water? No, you won't die. On that note, cheers. You don't need water per se. First and foremost, it depends on your environment. But if you're drinking, for example, fruit juices, or you're just eating a bunch of fruits, depending on religion, some people drink blood, matter of fact, coconuts, what have you. So you need absolutely no water whatsoever. Matter of fact, people don't understand this. Water is not hydrating. It's not hydrating at all. How can that be, right? When I say that, people are like mind blown. How can that be? I need water. If you drink water, what will happen? You piss. That's what it is. You piss most of it out again. So water is a detoxification tool, if you will. It flushes your system. Matter of fact, I know that from back in the day when I was in, now I can say it, many years have passed, into growing cannabis, into growing wheat. When you're growing wheat, there is a time where you infuse the wheat with nutrients. You give the plants nutrients, all kinds of vitamins and whatnot, and you enrich the soil. You push everything into the plants. But then comes a time where you need to essentially flush them out. You need to cleanse them. And that's when you give them just pure water and you flush everything out of the system. That's what water is for. But water is not hydrating per definition. Because in order for water to stay in your system, you need a mineral matrix, basically. It needs to be structured in a way. So meaning, when you're eating fruits, the water stays in your body. Even electrolytes. Matter of fact, here guys, this is something, you get a sneak peek. Can you see this? Or is it too bright? 1 second, maybe like this. Whoa, it's super bright. Like this. Here we go. Zimzam water. Really cool. You all know Zemzem water, I'm sure. This is a cheeky wordplay on Zemzem water. It's called Zimzam, and those are pure electrolytes. Man, this is way too bright. 1 second. Those are pure electrolytes that emulate the mineral content of Zemzem water. So, matter of fact, I always put this in my water. Just hang in there, stick around, and soon, inshallah, you will get a discount code for this as well. It's pretty amazing. It comes with all the minerals that we have in Zamzam water as well. You can just pour it into any regular water to enrich it, and like that it becomes hydrating. Matter of fact, the past few days when I was sick, when I was battling 40-degree fever, this was the only thing that basically saved my life, because I needed to stay hydrated, and yeah, under other circumstances I would need IV after IV. But what I did at home then, after coming out of the hospital, is drink those electrolytes. And before I had access to Zamzam water, I would simply drink other electrolytes. I always do that. I almost never drink water. Yeah, pretty much never. Just water by itself. Chabad, thank you very much for the 10 Schweizer Franken. Appreciated. The brother of last time trying it again. Salam, would you react to a German video today? In the beginning of the stream, I swear it's 30 minutes of once-in-a-lifetime content. Big donation waiting. Bro, again, I appreciate it. And we all are fond of big donations, of course. But at the same time, what am I supposed to do? 30 minutes means it's going to be the rest of the stream. That's what it is. And most people do not speak German. So the only thing that I can offer you is, and for that it has to be really life-changing and amazing content. Let's make a deal. I will react to 10 minutes of the video. That's the only thing I can do for the sake of the audience, and I will be translating everything as well. Right? That's the only thing I can offer, bro. And if it's so amazing and so mind-blowing, then we will do the whole 30 minutes. But I can only promise you 10 minutes of it. I think that's fair. Take it or leave it. That's my offer. Hey man, I'm Bulgarian Muslim revert from Austria. Ja, schönen guten Tag. Zdrasti, как си? It's really great to see a brother like, especially with your unbiased views on immigration in Europe. Now you have me on Kirilica, brate. Čekaj. Наистина съм доволен от това, което правиш. Merci. Благодаря. Yeah, so he says that he is happy to see somebody that is unbiased on the views of immigration. On that note, guys, I just uploaded a video and I talked about immigrants. I critiqued Ali Dawa's position, right? So Ali Dawa was critiquing Andrew Tate, and I critiqued Andrew Tate as well. So Andrew Tate should be critiqued, of course. He has a big platform. He has to be critiqued. But Ali Dawa really hates Andrew Tate. That's just what it is. And lately he's been just going into the deep end, just critiquing Andrew over and over and over and over again. It became funny to watch. And so therefore I made a response to him. I don't agree with Ali Dawa's position on immigration. As I said already, my stance is collective punishment, yes. And I stand with the UAE's position on immigration. Collective punishment. I'm not saying that if some immigrant killed somebody, now you have to put everybody into jail forever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying collective punishment in the sense of that if you have migrants from a specific country over and over committing crimes, then you have to ban all of those passport holders. That's just what it is. Listen, I'm in Thailand. I said that many, many times. And here we have issues with Israelis, go figure, and we have issues with Russians as well. So when it comes down to my stance, as a foreigner here in Thailand, I would ban all the Russians and all the Israelis. That doesn't mean that there are not some nice people amongst the Russians and even amongst the Israelis. I'm sure there are, but there is so much upheaval with those passport holders that you have to come to a conclusion. You know, so therefore, yes, I am for collective punishment, absolutely. And all the blue-pilled Muslims in my chat then saying, oh, Bobby, you're not on the side of your brothers. Those are far-right talking points. Those are not far-right talking points, because those talking points are established in the UAE. So now tell me if the UAE is far-right. And the same is happening in Saudi, I'm sure, as well. So this is just how you preserve your country, how you preserve your dignity for that matter. And this is why when people, I was really wondering, you know, on Ali Dawa's stance, but even people in the comments, as I said, yeah, this is not an issue, you know, so what? Black people, they had issues with other black people. There's not even racism. They weren't attacking white people. Okay, then you have to ask yourself the question, if you open the door as a country, no matter which country it is, you open the door now to a bunch of Nigerians, for example, right? And then the Nigerians start killing each other in your country. Why would you tolerate this? Now, it might not be a direct threat to your indigenous population, but why would you tolerate this? It makes no sense at all. As I said, here in Thailand, super peaceful country, and now let's say, it doesn't matter the nationality, let's say Finnish people, okay? Finnish people come over here and they're starting a Hell's Angels chapter and they're killing each other. For what? You understand? You don't have to tolerate this in your country whatsoever, and that doesn't make you some sort of far-right politician or Nazi or whatnot. It's just common sense. Bobby, are you boycotting Israel? I've seen you drink Coca-Cola before. Hey, great question. No, I'm not. I'm not boycotting in that way whatsoever. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion here. I am against boycotting and against demonstrations. What do I mean with this? I think that the human mind is very easily satisfied. Unfortunately, we react to any type of dopamine trigger. Yeah? Meaning, if it is really wrong what Israel is doing, I have to speak in hypotheticals here for the sake of the community guidelines, right? If it is really wrong what Israel is doing, then the nations should come together and fix that issue, okay? That's what it is. So if we're talking about Russia oppressing Ukraine, for example, all the states got together and they're saying, oh, this is a big tragedy, this is terrible, we should stand by Ukraine and we should take in the Ukrainian refugees and we should liberate Ukraine from Russia actively, right? Physically. So when it comes down to the Palestine subject, the Ummah became complacent by simply boycotting and demonstrating. You have those demonstrations to this very day in Germany, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, listen, I don't want to toot my own horn here, right? You know me and how dear this subject is to my heart. I spoke about this in extensive length. One of the most frustrating, if not the most frustrating part of reverting to Islam for me was that I couldn't do anything about the situation in Palestine. It was heartbreaking, yeah, seeing all of those dead kids every single day. I don't have to tell you. So when I got the chance to work with Smile Givers and to actually bring food, clothing, money into Palestine, this is what I can do, right? So now I don't have to toot my own horn. As I said, I don't have to tell you how much money got in there, how many resources. It was phenomenal. Alhamdulillah, and thanks to you guys. You supported and we helped those brothers and sisters, children out. That was amazing. And now we're going further into Sudan, Syria, etc. Right? That is amazing. And that is my active contribution. That is what I can do. But you never saw me on some sort of Palestine demonstration. You never saw me boycott a Coca-Cola because I couldn't care less. That is in Germany we say, ein Tropfen auf dem heißen Stein, which means that's like a drop on a hot stone. It just evaporates. This is not enough. And why I say people become complacent, it's like this. People nowadays, they don't get married, they don't pursue the other gender anymore, and then they're watching porn. So for your brain, that is enough. You understand? In that moment, that is enough. You take all of your energy that you could take in order to approach a woman, in order to court a woman, to marry a woman, etc. And you take all of that energy and you direct it towards pixels and then you jerk off. Okay. Your brain got a dopamine release. It got its fix. And I see that people with their boycotting and with the demonstration are getting that fix as well. But that is not enough. We shouldn't get that fix. We shouldn't feel satisfied with demonstrating and not drinking Coke. Oh, Bobby, I saw you at Starbucks. Huh, not good, bro. I couldn't care less. Genuinely. My contribution to Starbucks, I couldn't care less. It's nothing in comparison to what I have done for the Palestinian people through your help. And through Allah's grace, of course, alhamdulillah. That is what counts for me personally. Not those petty games of not eating this, not drinking this, sitting on the street in Berlin. For me, it's pathetic. We should really get angry. We should really get outraged and not go on the streets here, but do what is right, if you know what I mean. And that's all I can say here. For the people that are against the UAE, the subject is much deeper than you would think. But anyways, I'm not in the UAE, by the way, for people that are always taking that position. I have very good friends in the UAE for sure. I live in Thailand. Anyways. Let me get through the chat. Rather be a Jew than a Christian. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, demonstrations are good for bringing awareness. You know, guys, I'm not the youngest anymore. And I think this was roughly 15 years ago when some of my friends even, they went to pro-Palestine demonstrations back then. What did it lead to? Nothing. It won't change a thing. Nothing. It will just depict a specific narrative online in the media, and that's it. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. The Sky is Blue says, on Zamzam water topic, I made Umrah so many times and Zamzam water was so hydrating that I wouldn't need to drink as much water as normal because I just didn't feel thirsty as much. Exactly right. And that is because of the mineral content. And that's what I'm saying here. In Zamzam electrolytes, we have the same mineral content. So you can enrich any type of water and have the mineral balance so you don't get dehydrated because water just flushes your system, and this here stays in your system. I'm starting to hate people who always try to condemn politics like UAE. I know the UAE government is a sellout, but we get it. Why do we know that the UAE government is a sellout? How do you know? How do you know exactly what is going on behind the scenes? You don't. Of course, I'm an Ankh, 100% Ankh, bro. Who do you think will win the World Cup? Football is gay. I don't watch that stuff. I have no idea who's playing. I just went to the barber shop and they told me that they're playing. I didn't even know. I'm not watching that stuff. There is no reason for me to watch millionaires playing ball. Super gay. Very gay. Okay. We're just giving sympathy for the innocent Yemenis and Sudanese who have been killed. As I said, I'm not only giving sympathy, but we're actually actively donating to Sudan. So that's what I'm doing. Dr. Nasser versus God Logic. I watched 15 minutes, I don't know, 20 minutes of it. Very, very hard to watch. Very, very hard to watch. They're so disingenuous, unbelievable. Okay, guys, we have a super chat. Super chats will always be preferred. We have here almost 50 Schweizer Franken. Dankeschön. Alles klar. Gerne ab Minute 3 bis Minute 15. Okay. Koran-Projekt 361, das Kalifat auf Erden. Interessant. Okay. Schaue ich mir gerne an. So, because it's a super chat, we're going to watch a German video right now. That's what I'm saying, guys. If you want to watch something specific, send a super chat through. We agreed on 10 minutes of German content. I will put on subtitles if they have it. Otherwise, I will essentially translate as much as I can. 1 second. Das Kalifat of Erden. But this video is 2 hours 25 minutes, bro. Okay, so minute 3 to 15, yeah? Because this video is 2 hours and 25 minutes. Okay. Danke dir. And thank you, Kay. 1 second. For the W. 20 Schweizer Franken obendrauf. Dankeschön, Dankeschön. Nah, football itself is great as a sport and helps build communities. Yeah, for me, again, I don't understand it. I don't get it. So for me, I never connected with anybody that is playing football or liked football. It's just not in my universe. I hate it. For me, it's gay. And my father used to be a avid football player himself. Almost became a pro. Okay. Warning, guys, German video I will be translating. Let me do it like this. Minute 3. Do we have subtitles? Let me check. Was ist hier los? Eine Sekunde. Subtitles auto-generated. Let me see. Auto-translate. Yeah, okay. So they have auto-translate. I'm gonna put it on with English subtitles. Let's see if they do a good job or not. Otherwise it will correct. Okay. Let's do it like this. Das Kalifat auf Erden, meaning the caliphate on earth. Let's see what he has to say. Like this. Okay. Alright, let's check it out. Okay, so basically speaking about the creation of the world, of humans, of Adam, etc., etc., and now he wants to speak about the practicalities of it. Okay, so the German Imam here says that if you read into the 30th surah of Baqarah, I believe, then you will find out that the primary goal of humanity on earth is to create a caliphate. Okay, let's see. Okay, that is very interesting. So I will have to read Surah Al-Baqarah again because he states that Allah says that he's not creating insan, he's not creating human, but he's creating a caliph. He's creating a caliphate, somebody that will rule the caliphate. So let me just look this up. 1 second. I didn't know that this was the case. Surah Al-Baqarah 30. Okay, here we go. So for this, of course, we need Arabic speakers, guys. So the Imam speaks about this. Remember when your Lord said to the angels, I'm going to place a successive human authority on earth. They asked Allah, will you place in it someone who will spread corruption there and shed blood while we glorify your praises and proclaim your holiness? Allah responded, I know what you do not know. So now, guys, for all the Arabic speakers here, please, let me move myself out of the way. When it comes down to successive human here, wherever it is, I cannot read Arabic, the Imam proclaims that here he speaks about caliph. What is the word for successive human in the Arabic text? Please let me know in the chat now before we proceed, because this for me is very surprising. I am not an Arabic speaker. I've only read the translation of the Quran. And therefore, this will be news to me that Allah addresses the creation of the human here as a caliph. Open tafsir, yeah, good idea. How do I do that here? Meanwhile, let me know in the comments. I will try to find tafsir. 1 second. Okay, here's the tafsir. Here we go. Let's see. The preceding verses recounted the general and some of the particular blessings of Allah and asked men to recognize them and not to be ungrateful and disobedient to his benefactor. Now 10 verses, beginning with the 30th, tell the story of the father of mankind, Adam. In continuation of this theme and also by way of illustration, 4 blessings are of 2 kinds, tangible and intangible. Food, water, money, houses, or lands are some of the tangible blessings, while honor, happiness, or knowledge are intangible ones. Okay, etc., etc., etc. The creation of Adam. Having decided to create Adam and to make him his deputy on earth. Spoke of it to... What happened? 1 second. His deputy on earth spoke of it to the angels, seemingly by way of trial. I can't really find anything here mentioning that we're speaking about a caliph. The word Khalifa means successor. Okay, okay. You can let it recite. Okay, let's try. There it is. Okay. Okay, okay. So the word Khalifa is definitely used. Okay, interesting. See? That's where we need to get acquainted with the Arabic. This is the first time that I hear this. Very, very interesting. Thank you very much for the video. Okay, so his interpretation here is that God creates us to worship him alone, hence Tawheed, and that is what we have to do upwards, so to speak, but downstream it is about establishing the caliphate on earth, hence, because we are the successors on earth. And yeah, that is our position, he says. Our position is to worship God and meanwhile create the caliphate. He says that the Tawheed is obviously important, but the Caliphate is so important that it has been written amongst the first pages of the Quran. One second, guys. Everything fine with the sound? I saw some complaints here. I'm hearing static noise when the video runs, but I can hear Bobby perfectly. Can't hear the audio. Really? Seemingly everything is fine here on my end. Is everybody hearing the audio or not? Can everybody hear the audio or not? Please let me know in the chat. Yes, no. Write in the chat. It should be fine. I can make it a bit louder as well. If there's a static noise, it might be my AC on that note. He says that he's trying to convey, not only to the Muslims, but to the non-Muslims in his surroundings, that the caliphate doesn't mean terrorism. He says that, I assume, through communism, basically, in Turkey, most people are scared of two words nowadays, Sharia and Khilafah, and that's something that they even learned in school. As I said already, predominantly, I would have to assume through the influence of communism. It has been the same thing on the Balkan as well. So if you talk about Sharia, you talk about Khilafah, people think you're some sort of extremist, terrorist, etc. He says now that his grandparents or great grandparents, I'm assuming that he's talking about the Ottoman Empire here, those people died for the how do you translate this? Really hard to translate. Values, yeah, for the values of the Sharia, the values of Islam, the values of Tawhid. Those people used to die for those values, and now it became the opposite. Now people see it as something evil, something extreme. Now he's speaking about all the caliphates, basically, what they've been fighting for, be it the Seljuks, be it the Abbasids, etc., etc. Now he's speaking about the so-called golden age. How has science prospered back in the day? What was it? It was through Sharia and Khilafah. So he says that Tawheed and justice are the main motivations behind creating the Khilafah. Now he's repeating the surah where the angels ask Allah if he wants to create something that produces bloodshed on earth. But he now wants to say that this is not what it's about. It's not about the bloodshed, but it's about the justice, about the creation of justice. He's basically explaining that Sharia means the law or the system of the law, and that somebody that will be the Khilafah will enforce that law, and therefore it is about structure rather than destruction. He says that he, as a person, he says what you think you can think for yourself, but me personally, he lost the hope in the Islamic Ummah. He says that the Kurds and the Albanians, they won't be able to establish the Khilafah anymore. He says that those people betrayed those beautiful words, i.e. Khilafah and Sharia. Because roughly 5 generations now hate those words. Again, yeah, this is what happened on the Balkan, because those people went through communism and then to liberalism, so therefore they have a hatred for the old ways, so to speak. Yeah, when they hear Sharia, when they hear Khilafah, they think about losing their freedoms. That's what they think about. Now he says that the Quran itself is just a book, but in order to bring the justice into the world, it still needs humans. So therefore, we humans bring this justice into the world. So if the Quran is the best book in the world, but nobody acts on it, then it's kind of besides the point. Yeah, that's what I always say as well. Motivated by Habib, inspired by Habib, to be totally honest. He says that the non Muslim is not looking at the Quran, he's looking at the Muslims down the street. So the way that you behave, this is essentially what is representing Islam, not the book. Yeah. And he says that the non Muslims see the Muslims in Germany, that's where he's talking about. And then they see the Muslims and they say, oh, well, if this is Islam, then I'm never going to be a Muslim. And that was my thought pattern as well back in the day. Exactly the same. When I saw the Muslims, I didn't want to be a Muslim. Yeah, he says, of course, this goes into the Aqidah. Anyways, he says that the representatives in Turkey, they didn't even understand the Aqidah, and people that see them, they see a bad representation of Islam, and therefore they're more interested in atheism or deism, etc. One second, guys. I'm experiencing some technical issues here. It kind of freezes up. I don't know why that is. But now it should be fine. Yeah, he says that if he would have looked at the Turkish people, then he wouldn't have been a Muslim nowadays either. He says, now you're going to say, Alhamdulillah, Islam is the true religion. Yeah, well, but that doesn't save us either. He says the Sahaba could have thought like this too, but they didn't think like this. Do you know any Sahaba that was giving out Qur'ans? Do you know any Sahaba that was giving out flyers, like on those dawah stands? No. He says, no, the Sahaba lived Islam, and like that, they brought the Islam into the whole world. He says the spread of Islam that you see in North Africa, be it Indonesia, Turkey, etc., all of this came through the Sahaba and the first 3 generations. So this is how Islam spread. He says, do you know what that means? We didn't come any further than the Sahaba. That the Sahaba did the biggest explosion of Islam, if you will. The expansion of Islam happened through the Sahaba, through the first 3 generations, and after that, what we are doing right now is nothing in comparison. Yeah, very true. This is actually a very interesting video now. I have to say that in the beginning, yes, we heard the word Khalifa there 100%. But for this, I have to talk to a sheikh, talk to some student of knowledge to really see other interpretations as well here, that this truly then implies that the human being has to be a Khilafah here, that this is the way that Allah meant it. But that being said, I will agree with this point here absolutely, that the expansion of Islam happened through the caliphates. That's just what it is. So, which kind of brings me back to the point that I made prior when I was talking about boycotting and demonstrations. I am certain, 100% certain, that you not drinking or drinking Coca Cola won't change anything in Palestine. Matter of fact, I saw people in Palestine drinking Coca Cola, right? That's just what it is. When it comes down to those flotillas and whatnot bringing in food, they were happy to drink Coca Cola, okay? So I couldn't disagree more with boycotting those products, demonstrating in Western countries. All of this nonsense to me personally. I don't agree with it. I'm not mocking if you think it's an effort, fine, but I'm against it. I'm not participating whatsoever. And this is why I say here, it kind of reminds me of that. It's very futile. So now giving dawah in Germany, giving dawah in France, even giving dawah online, yeah, sure, it will do something, but this is not really how Islam will spread. Islam, the true spread of Islam, comes, of course, through caliphates, comes through real expansion. That's just what it is. And that's how it has been historically, and that's how it will continue as well. Anyways, we already finished the 15-minute mark. I'm still going to play it for 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'm going to cut it off. Thank you very much for the super chat, and thank you very much for this interesting video. I actually appreciate what he says here, especially towards the end. He says, how long has it been since Islam, since the establishment of Islam? 1,400 years. Why hasn't anything happened in the last 1,000 years? I wouldn't say the last 1,000 years, because the Ottoman Empire, it ended roughly over 100 years ago. So until 100 years ago, there was still an expansion within Islam. He says we've been sleeping 1,000 years. But I'm disagreeing with this yet again, because I don't think that the Ottomans were sleeping. Now, was the Ottoman Empire the best caliphate ever? No, but it went over to Austria. It went up to Europe. And I mean, look at what happened in Spain as well, right? So that happened in the last 1,000 years too. So I disagree with the stance that in the last 1,000 years there was no expansion at all. He says that he personally sees it differently when it comes down to all of those establishments. He says in the year 1200 something, when the Mongols entered, this is when you had the downfall of Islam. That's his perspective. I personally disagree. He says we didn't evolve after that, after the Mongols took over. But again, I absolutely disagree with that. You have to ignore Andalus completely. And the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, okay, here I fully disagree. He says when we are speaking about caliphate, then we have to speak about a caliphate that was before the year 1258. I disagree. Again, this would take Al Andalus completely out of the picture, which was tremendous for Islam, and it would take the Ottomans out of the picture as well. You have to understand I'm from the Balkans, right? So without the Ottomans, we wouldn't have any Islam on the Balkan. We wouldn't have any Islam in Bosnia, we wouldn't have any Islam in Albania, in northern Macedonia, where I'm from. My city is basically 80 to 90% Muslim anyways. So yeah, we wouldn't have that without the Ottoman Empire. To now say that it ended 1258, I strongly disagree. Okay, I'm going to cut it off here. He says again, just because a state gets the name caliphate doesn't make it a caliphate. Yeah, okay. Listen, I agreed with some points that he made. I disagreed with others. When it comes down to this, people complaining about the caliphates, I have to be very, very cautious here. Okay? I see nowadays many people, we saw that here in the chat as well, attacking Muslim countries, right? When it comes down to the UAE, to Saudi, everybody has an opinion. Okay, fine. You have some hardliners that will tell you there is absolutely no Muslim country at all anymore. There are no Muslim countries. None of this is Muslim, none of this is Islamic, just because you have certain sins within society. There is no Muslim country. I heavily disagree with this, because if you go even through the caliphates, you will see that there was never a perfect society. People nowadays romanticize the caliphates. They believe that when the caliphate was established, all of a sudden everything was perfect. Like there was no sin anymore, no zina was committed, nobody drank alcohol, everything was just perfect. Everybody was like a saint on earth. That's just not the case. Humans will be humans. That will always be. That's just what it is. So if you look into the caliphates and you look at them critically, you will always find certain flaws, quote unquote. I personally call that just life. You know, it is what it is. Nobody will ever be perfect. But anyhow, my point is that people that romanticize those caliphates at the same time attack the Muslim countries nowadays. And I'm sure, I'm certain that if a caliphate would be established now, it would be the same people that will tell you that's not even a caliphate. Oh, well, that's not even a caliphate now. What is this? This is not a caliphate. They won't agree with it. Something will be missing again for those people. And this imam here, again, in many ways, I agree. But then he will tell you, oh, well, you know, those things back in the day, like till 1200 maybe, after that, there was no caliphate anyways. Right? So now the Ottomans were no caliphates. It was not a caliphate. And that is something that I see as a sickness. Now, again, I'm not here to give you some sort of fatwa. I'm not a student of knowledge. I'm not a scholar, let alone a sheikh. None of it, right? But I have a little bit of, let's say, intellect left. One brain cell is still there, even after battling fever for 4 days straight. Still, a little bit of intellect is there. When I look at humans, I see a deep, essentially a deep insecurity in a way, an unsatisfaction in a way, a seeking in the outside world, in the external, in order to satisfy this gap within them. There is something that is not satisfied within themselves, and they believe that if the outside would only change, then they would attain that peace, and then everything would be good. But as I said, this will never come. It's an illusion. Because it is the same people that once the caliphate is established, inshallah, they will complain and rebel against that caliphate as well. They will say this is not Muslim enough. And they will live in the West still and complain about it. As you have it nowadays. Many people on YouTube, many Muslims on YouTube, they're complaining about every single Muslim country, and they're attacking those Muslim countries verbally whilst paying taxes to Western countries. That's what you see. So I see this as a sickness of never being satisfied in your life, because you think that if the external will change, then finally I can be at peace, I can be at ease. But the point of the story is that the Sharia is already there for all of us, so we can follow it. So now I live in Thailand. Nobody's stopping me from committing all the sins in the world, right? But I have to restrain myself, I have to curb myself, and nobody's stopping me from practicing Sharia. Literally, nobody's stopping me from it. I can practice Islam even here in a Buddhist country. So now I can cry and ask for the caliphate, or I can still work on myself, because I know that my Islam is still lacking, big time. Who am I now to ask for the caliphate? Oh, please bring the caliphate, and then my Islam will be better. Why? When it comes down to Muslim countries, or let's call them Muslim majority countries, whatever it may be, it might be Morocco, it might be Saudi, it might be Turkey, it might be Indonesia. None of those countries are perfect. But why are they not perfect? They're not perfect because we're humans, first and foremost. And secondly, because people want to behave in a certain way. But at the same time, nobody is stopping you from practicing Islam 100%. Again, all the people that are against the UAE, man, when I went to the UAE, you know, you're complaining about the country, complaining about the country. I was just in awe. You have masjids everywhere, but everywhere. You have prayer rooms everywhere. Man, I went there to Jiu-Jitsu, and you have a prayer room in the UFC gym. You can pray, you can make wudu before you work out. And even the how do you say, the lesson, call it what you will. The fighting class doesn't start until the prayer is finished. You understand? You can go to Juma on Fridays, no matter what your job is. They're shutting down the banks even, so you can go to Juma. It's amazing. So if this is not Muslim enough for you, I don't know what is. And then they're going to complain, yeah, but you have so much Western influence, this and that. Yeah, but you don't have to participate in that whatsoever. You don't. Anyways, that's how I see it. Maldives is 100% Muslim country. Yeah, the Maldives are 100% Muslim country, but at the same time, you have all the Western tourists there in their bikinis, right? Having their honeymoon, right? Or not even being married and doing their sexy holidays. But nobody's complaining about that. Let them do it. If they want to do it, let them do it. That brings economic prosperity to the country. And then the Muslims can practice Islam 100%. Vesgo says, I don't agree with foreign politics of the UAE, but you can't deny that it's a great country. Most of the people condemning it are living in the West, where they pay taxes to Israel. That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly right. Bobby, what happened to your collab with Sony? I don't know. Ask Sony, man. That guy, super busy. Well, the UAE still funds constructing Hindu temples. Well, I guess that's it then. You have to understand that the workers in the UAE are Indians, man. Do you understand this? It's a bunch of Indians. When you are in the UAE in certain areas, it seems like you're in India. So what are they supposed to do? The UAE has been on good relations with India ever before it became what it is nowadays, right? Indians are there to work and they actively build that society. You can say about them what you will. So now to establish a temple for them so they can pray as well and follow their religion, what is so bad about that? What is so bad about that? Will now any Muslim become a Hindu because of that? Of course not. Bobby, what is your opinion on abortion? I'm against it in 99.9% of the cases. I'm from Malaysia. I wouldn't call us a Muslim country. It's a secular country with Islam as a state religion. All those bars and clubs are for the 40% non-Muslim population. Yeah, again, Malaysia is complicated too because you have many Chinese, you have many Indians, you have many different religions living there. So it's a Muslim country, but it's not a caliphate. Okay, let's put it that way. Jazakallah khair, thank you. Yeah, the Baba did a good job today. He didn't go too short. Like this. Watching YouTube finish? No, not necessarily. We can still watch something. Okay, let me go through the chat. Okay, actually, guys, let me watch a little bit of Instagram. And then I might wrap it up. Because I feel my tonsils are still killing me. I cannot talk for too long. I had a few clips saved here. Ah, yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. My favorite topic lately. Do you guys remember? I always mix up the name Lil Black Ray or Black Lil Ray or Ray Lil Black or Ray got blacked by 10 black guys. I don't know, something on those lines. So the ex-porn star, I made a video about her not really wearing hijab anymore and how it progresses and how it progresses. And apparently that has caused a shitstorm on her Instagram. Alhamdulillah. Listen, guys, I'm not a perfect Muslim. I'm not acting as if I was some sort of saint, right? Don't get me wrong. What I hate, however, is this performative nonsense, okay? I don't run around in Arabic attire all the time, right? And larp as the greatest Muslim around here. I don't do it. I still wear my normal stuff, right? I'm Bobby. I'm trying to be the best Muslim I can. I hope I never conveyed anything here that I'm this uber pious guy. I'm just doing my best. However, this little black or whatever, once she reverted, it was all hijab pictures with duck face, left and right. Those are attention-seeking, damaged females. That's just what it is. They're sick in the head. And I saw it right away. Oh, brother Bobby, you have to forgive. Allah forgave her sins. Who are you now? I have half a brain left. There's still a little bit here. I can analyze this and tell you this is nonsense. She's a 30-year-old washed-out woman that was in the porn industry, that got banged by 10 dudes, black dudes, on camera. This is not normal behavior. This is not an oopsie just happened. No, this is premeditated. You have to sign the contract with blacked. You have to make the conscious decision that you're going to get blacked, okay? This is not normal. And once she did that, once she reverted to Islam, I was very, very critical of her. Rightfully so. Anyways, after this shitstorm, now she's posting stories. Check this out. Okay, let me just make this smaller. 1 second, guys. Like this. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna read it for you, yeah. I don't know which song she plays. Let me see. Oh, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't want to get copyright striked. So, she posts, interesting how some people think not wearing a hijab automatically means a person has left their faith. No, that's not what we mean whatsoever. A person, a woman, could revert to Islam and not wear the hijab at all. That could happen, of course. But you became Muslima, and then the next thing you know, your whole social media became you with a plastered face of makeup, duck faces in a hijab. Am I not so cute now? In my modest look? Am I not a woman of God? That's what it is, right? So now, she continues, the fact that I'm not a full-time 100% hijabi is not your business. Neither is my relationship with Allah. My faith is between me and Allah, and between me and not between me and strangers on the internet. Exactly right. Exactly right. You are making my point. That's what I said. I said that if you are genuine with your sins, listen, we all have sins. Yet again, I'm not judging you because you have sins, but your sins are out on the open. They are on the internet. I'm not going to do it now, otherwise the stream will get striked. If I Google your name, I'm going to get porn pages. Porn page after porn page. That's it. I'm going to see you sitting on penises. You understand? That will happen after Googling your name. So you, after taking a new Islamic name, Nuray Istiqbal, you should have gotten off the internet. But that's the thing. Females, they don't care about positive or negative emotion. All they care about is emotion. And now she's experiencing something. Oh, don't judge me, you guys. Don't judge me. If she really wouldn't like to be judged, she would wear niqab and get off the internet. Very, very simple. Move to a village in Indonesia and start over. You could have done it. That's the whole point. But no. Now you're posing with Craig. What's his name again? Craig. I forgot his name. The jiu-jitsu guy. Craig Jones. With Craig Jones sitting there with no hijab and traveling through the world. It's bullshit. She wants to be judged. That's the whole point. She's actually creating her own suffering now. She loves it. She wants to be judged. That is the character of those narcissistic women. She's absolutely narcissistic because it's all about her. She is the type of woman that has been displaying herself naked in front of everybody to see, and now she's displaying herself in a hijab. It's all bullshit. I've seen plenty of women who don't wear hijab and still pray, worship, and strive to be good Muslims. And some people look like perfect Muslims, yet their behavior is the complete opposite of what they preach. I agree, but it doesn't apply to you. Faith is not something you can accurately judge based on appearance alone. Yet people judge based on the appearance. That's why we are called performative people. Yes, you are performative because you are performing the deen online. That's as if I would now, for example, film myself all the time when I'm praying or I'm in the mosque. And you see guys like that as well, which is super pathetic. You see brothers, they're whatever, they made their beard nice and they put on makeup even, and then they're praying and looking into the camera, giving you those thirst traps. It's disgusting. You shouldn't monetize the deen like this. This is repulsive. But that's what she did. And that's why we're judging her. And we should, of course, judge by what is apparent. What are you even saying here? And what is apparent is that you went into the religion super performatively and you will exit it performatively as well. She says, I've also seen many women without hijab in your own countries. Do you go up to every one of them and ask, have you left your faith? Or is this question reserved only for me? Thank you for making assumptions about my entire relationship with Allah based on one thing you can see. Let that sink in. Wow, mind blown. Women are retarded. Genuinely, women are retarded. They all are retarded and self-centered. Some are a bit less retarded and a bit less self-centered, but ultimately female nature is retarded. Speaking to them is like speaking to your little daughter. They're stupid, self-centered. I'm a misogynist, self-admittedly. And in the end, it really boils down to, yeah, if they got access to the internet. Because if they do, then they're in it for a very, very good time. Now you have some simps here as well. Let's see. Let's see if this is a simp. I don't want to say he's a simp. Let me read it first. He says, Fahad, why are you explaining it? The more you explain, the more they will try to hunt you. Just leave them and they will stop when they get tired and getting no answer. Do whatever you want. Only connection that matters is with Allah. He's a simp. He's a simp after all. What does it even mean, bro? I have a connection with Allah. Okay. My Allah likes astaghfirullah, right? So let's say, rephrase it. I have a connection to God. God is in my heart. Okay. And now what? So God likes everything I do. And if I don't want to pray, Allah is in my heart. God is in my heart. He knows. He knows. What does he know? He ordained for you to pray 5 times per day. Now what does he know? That you're lazy? Oh, he's in my heart. Allah ordained the hijab. Oh, I'm not going to wear it because Allah is in my heart and you don't know that. What does it even mean? It doesn't mean anything. And all of those sims in the comment section are ridiculous. And then you have all of those sims in the comment section that want to marry her. So disgusting. Please let her free from your cheap comments. She has a long way to go. It's not something you understand in some time. Islam is so vast. People even die without having full Islamic knowledge. And she's a revert. Please stop so she won't regret accepting Islam. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What does it mean? It means nothing. It means nothing. It's all just emotion. It means nothing. Here. And now her whole page, for people that want to say I'm too harsh on her, her whole damn page is just her in Japanese outfits. That's it. It's just her in Japanese outfits now. Before that it was porn. Now it's Japanese outfits. And this year, where somebody asked her, you got a BF? And she ignored him, and then he says, may Allah ignore you the way you have ignored me. Okay, cool, simp. Let's check her story. Let's see. Okay, nothing special today. Rolex and flowers. And here, zero hijab for you guys. There you go. No hijab at all now. With her dog at home. Oh, you don't understand. Right, let's not warn her about it at all. Who cares for the blessings? She doesn't need blessings at home. There we go. Kiss the dog. Be a dog mom now with 30. Absolutely ridiculous, man. Stupid. I wouldn't mind at all. Listen, if she was like this from the get-go, that's who she was from the get-go, and she wouldn't have her Muslim lob, her hijabi lob, I would just say, okay, cool. May Allah guide her, man. All the best. But no, she presents herself as this super pious woman. And all the Muslim pictures are gone now. All the Muslim pictures are gone. Only this one here, where she... Ah. Okay, so see, that's what I mean with this. Okay, listen, guys, for all the Sims watching, okay? Women do not care, like us men, to feel good. You as a man, you simply want to feel good, normal, right? Like this. It's all good. It is what it is, man. Fantastic. Women, they want a movie. They want to feel high, they want to feel down, they want to cry, they want to laugh, they want to sing, they want to be up in their emotions. Now, this is amazing because I made the video about her 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, she deletes her hijabi pictures. And then she uploads this video of her 2 weeks ago where she justifies not wearing the hijab 100% of the time. Basically, never. Right? That's what she uploaded here. And leaves only the pictures of her where she doesn't wear hijab at all. So now you already see where this is going. Right? Her whole persona right now online is the woman that left porn, became Muslim, and now, but nobody gets me. Nobody really gets me in my struggle. And Islam is still in my heart. Allah is still in my heart. They love this. They simply love this. This is just an emotional roller coaster that they enjoy right now. That's it. Now she has a new persona of being this rebellious woman. Because her nature is rebellious. She's been rebelling against her own parents, against her father, when she got into the porn industry. This doesn't happen to a healthy, normal human being. You cannot be normal. Listen, guys, again, I want to repeat this 10,000 times. We all have our sins. I am sinful. To this very day, I commit sins. Yes, absolutely. But to go to this extent where you get blacked by 10 black guys on camera, this shows severe mental illness. Do you understand? There are steps to this. Kissing a boy for a girl is already a step. Yeah? Zina, committing zina is already a step. Now being in a haram relationship, another step. Now opening up an OnlyFans where you post naked pictures of yourself is already another step. Now opening an OnlyFans where you actually show having sex is again another step. And then being in the professional porn industry is yet again another step. And then getting gangbanged by 10 guys on camera is again another step of your mental illness. She's a high narcissist. Total narcissist, totally in love with herself. It's all about herself. She's displaying her sins, and then she's displaying her new sins now in Islam, that she's rebelling against the religion, but nobody gets her, and she's filming herself whilst doing it. Do you understand this now? This is why I critiqued her from the get-go, and I won't let go of this. I will critique her till the end. And I said already, she's going to get completely rid of the hijab, which she did right now, just after my video, completely now. Before that, she wasn't 100% hijabi. Now she's not hijabi at all anymore. And next thing is she's going to... What did I say in the video? I said, now she's going to say it's between me and Allah. Now she's doing that already. She's fast-forwarding, she's speed-running everything I said. And then the next step is that she's going to leave Islam, but she's not going to make it public. She's just going to keep on speaking less and less and less and less about it. She's probably going to open up some sort of stupid female podcast. Mark my words. Astaghfirullah. May Allah guide us all. Bobby, your Albanian DNA is calling you. 100%, bro. I have to learn Albanian now. Yeah, The chat says, bro called it, but it's so damn obvious, man. I don't understand. You know, you have such sims in the Ummah. It's unbelievable. Oh, bro, just forget. What are you talking about? Why did they elevate her to such a platform? What is so great about this? Oh, look how Allah guided her. Bro, how do you know that Allah guided her? Yeah, but she accepted Islam. Okay, at face value. Any idiot can say the Shahada. That doesn't mean that they were truly guided, man. Especially in this day and age. Okay, you went to Indonesia, you went to Malaysia, whatever, you entered the mosque. You find it attractive. She doesn't even understand what Islam is. Yeah, she accepted Islam. Oh, wow. Who are you to judge her if Allah guided her? Don't you see? Her comments are just sims. It's so repulsive. Look at this. 4 days ago, she posted this now in a Japanese outfit. This guy. I posted as well, but my comment got deleted. Look at this simp. Dahoud. More like the youth. He posts, imagine still living on earth, but already have the looks of angel in Jannah. Oh, mashallah, sister. Mashallah, imagine that. Thank you, Dawood. Thank you, the youth. This guy. You don't even look that bad, man. Why are you simping, bro? What is going on? And this has 173 likes. They deleted my comment, huh? No, I'm still here. Can you see it? I posted, shut the fuck up, simp. Anyways, doesn't help with those people. Ah, here, somebody else. Good. Shut your mouth, the youth. Exactly. This retard really checked her picture and thought to himself, wow, mashallah, she looks like an angel in Jannah. Are you retarded, man? Oh my god. And then she, again in her own persona, that's her posting, people have a lot to say about lives they never lived. Feel free to judge. You're a retarded little schoolgirl, man. You have the IQ of a pig, of a swine. Oh my god, how can you be so stupid? No self-reflection whatsoever. You are saying that you converted to Islam. Then you're posting yourself in some sort of geisha material here. Yeah? And then, oh, feel free to judge. Because you want to be judged. That's it. You are narcissistic and you're self-destructive. You hate yourself, you hate your parents. This is why you did porn. And now you want to be judged. You wanted to be subjectified, sexualized, and now you still want to be judged. It just keeps on going. You took your mental illness and you brought it into the religion. That's the whole point. And that's what I see. Not only her, even brothers, guys, yeah, you see that over and over again. People are mentally ill, man. They have a sickness. And then they accept Islam, whatever. And then they bring their sickness, their mental illness into the religion. And then they interpret it through their lens. It's repulsive. It's really repulsive. Honestly, may Allah guide us all, but may He grant them as well shifa. You know, they should all get healed first before entering the religion, man. Otherwise, you take all your baggage and dump it here. Now judge me. What is that, man? What is that? Is that some sort of Islamic example now? Like, this is how the Sahaba talked? This is how the wives of the Prophet talked? You can judge me. Feel free to judge. What the hell is this, bro? Liberal nonsense from porn actress. Tachif Shanonen. Here have Albanian. Yeah, of course it's a fetish. Subhanallah. Okay, I can't watch this anymore. This is enough. For real. Terrible. Let's watch something else. Enough of this alleged Nurai Istiqbal, whatever. You know, I'm still Bobby, bro. 4 years after reverting to Islam, still Bobby. This one is Nurai Istiqbal. Yeah, come on, bro. Take the name, put on the niqab, and take off the internet, man. If you really don't want to be judged. That's such nonsense. I, for example, I never say that I don't want judgment on my channel. I actually want discourse on my channel. Of course. Haters, supporters, everything. Come in. No worries. It's all good. But don't judge. Don't judge, don't post. Unbelievable. This is a Zionist chick in Israel, old grandma, and she's pushing Louis Theroux. She's disappointed. Sick. She was really shocked that Louis didn't push her back. She was expecting him to act like an animal as well and to push him too, and then it would be justified. That's the whole point that she tried to make, because she, of course, would assume that the Palestinians pushed them first, which is ridiculous, of course. Now, yeah, she tried to find her own nature in Louis, but she couldn't find it. It's very disgusting to hear, of course, how she talks about the Palestinians. Admitted, at least, that she's a settler, and therefore she is there to develop certain parts of the place, right? And she doesn't think about the Palestinians as people whatsoever. She just thinks of them as obstacles, things that are in the way, things that she needs to get removed, rid of, and then build their Jewish stuff on top. It's a virus. It's very parasitic. Louis called it sociopathic. Yeah, you could say so. Disgusting. Yeah, so she could clip it. Oi, you pushed me. You pushed me first. Yeah, exactly. Disgusting. You can really see that they have some sort of possession. You're not talking to humans when you talk to them. It's a different spirit, if you will. Maybe I'm using Christian terminology here, but it's really a different spirit that you talk to. It's like talking to a demon, like jinn possession. They're not humans. You cannot be human talking like this. Those people there have done nothing to you, but you want to eradicate them. What is most shocking about this is, if it was like a 20-year-old guy, for example, when I was 16 to 22 or so, I was all in my ego as well. And back then, if you would have given me a gun and said, hey, now you have to fight the Muslims that are taking over Macedonia, I would have probably believed it. And maybe I would have been gullible enough to go. But she's a grandma. You understand? Usually you associate grandmas with some sort of mercy, some kindness, a softness, and it's not there. That's why this is so abstruse. This is so, yeah. Your brain glitches when you watch this. She's like an evil witch, ultimately. Because you would expect a grandma in her later years to realize where they went wrong, etc. There's this other video, I don't know if I can find it, where you have former IDF soldiers, and now they're grandparents. They're old grandparents, grandpas. And they're talking about how they raped women and what they did to the Palestinians. And they're laughing about it as well. So there's this disconnect, that there was no maturation in those people, that there was no kindness developing in those people whatsoever. They just stayed the same evil all their life, which is insane. Like even my parents, for example, my father, he used to be a bit rough around the edges when he was younger. When I go back to the village, they tell me about him, how he used to beat up people there with his brother, whatever, they were 14, 15 years old. And he would get into fights and this and that. But the older he got, the more loving he became, and the softer he became, the more love he had towards children, towards people, towards animals. They're just a normal development. But they just lack this. There is no humanity developing. It just stays evil. Very, very disgusting. Shocking, honestly. Oh, but we are already at it for 2 hours. Guys, if you want to support now. 5 more minutes. I'm going to tune out. Because I cannot be talking that much. My throat's already hurting again. I've been sick for way too long. I need to calm it down. One second. No, unfortunately, I cannot find that clip. But this clip is funny. Check this one out. This one is hilarious. Look at this here. Talking about pushing somebody. Is it loading or not? This is so funny. One second, it's loading. Something is off here on my end. It will start anytime soon. Now you know why the woman wanted to be pushed by Louis. You'll see now, once it starts. Walaikum assalam. Not yet, but soon, guys. Honestly, I'll be tuning out soon. Why is it not loading? Let me refresh. They have no shame at all. Absolutely repulsive, man. And so this guy is faking an anti-Semitic attack. That's what he just did. He was faking an anti-Semitic attack as a man, bro. He was surrounded by a bunch of women. Yeah, a bunch of women. And then he just freaked out and ran over to the cops. What you're doing, Rabbi? What you're doing, man? Insane. At least 6 million shoves, bro. At least. Anyways, hey guys. So much for that. I really have to turn it off. I'm starting to sweat again. As I said, I've been sick for 10 days. I cannot overexert myself, and talking 2 hours straight is already sufficient for me now, unfortunately. I'm going to tune out. Thank you very much for joining today. Thank you very much for participating, supporting. Good to see everybody. But this is it for tonight. It is time to relax now. And inshallah soon more content yet again. Alright guys. As always, may God bless you all. Much love and peace.